My speech was very impaired. My memory, I'd lost all my memories, my children's memories, and that's heartbreaking.
I couldn't run at all without falling over.
It was just like an electric shock shooting through my whole body, and it really frightened me.
There was a buzzing, a constant buzzing in the back of my head, which I really couldn't understand.
And I sat in the bath and I was sectioned in half. Half was hot and half was cold. The worst day of my life was when I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. It was absolutely numbing.
I was devastated because I didn't know anything about it.
I knew then that everything hadn't been a figment of my imagination, and that I wasn't going mad.
Loss of bladder and bowel control was very depressing.
And then I was constantly getting flus, fevers, lying in bed, shaking.
I couldn't turn over in bed without being sick.
And I remember when I could still get up the stairs, I used to go on my bottom and my hands and just wanting to be shut away and just sitting there and thinking, how dare you sit here and cry, is people worse off, and just letting it go and sobbing.
We'd decided that if we wanted to do any more travelling, it had to be now, because within a year or two, it was not going to be possible.
It takes perseverance and a lot of I'm sorry to placate them and my family and keep them happy.
Because they're watching and waiting for you, and obviously as your illness progresses, they've got the fear of facing mortality.
A major part of my fun out of life was finished.
I was prescribed, after a lot of kerfuffle and hardy-bargy, beta interferon. It did not work for me. Now I know of others that it probably helped. It didn't help. It made me feel 10 times worse, and I voluntarily came off it.
I didn't really feel as though it had done a huge amount of good for me. I felt very sore.
My husband said, no, I don't want you to go on it because the side effects were just too risky, with the depression and the flu-like symptoms for 3 months and bedridden, and he just didn't want me to go through it. He thought I'd been through enough. So we said thank you, but no thank you.
I just thought after this beta interferon, there's no point. Might as well address the symptoms and get on with it. Get to know the beast.
This is a novel medication. It's a unique mechanism of action, and the manufacturing process is absolutely a one-off.
I've been a family doctor for 30 years, and this remarkable product has helped me help patients in a remarkable way, and this has given me great satisfaction and certainly improved the quality of my medicine.
Before my first injection, I really didn't have any great expectations at all. I was hopeful that I would find some improvement.
Could this be the Holy Grail? Could this be the answer to all my dreams and problems? And then I thought, well, maybe even if it just scratches the surface, that's something as well, isn't it?
And I thought, well, if there is a chance of something new that might help to bring something back for the walking or the hands or the numbness that I have, it would be great. So, yes, go for it.
The reaction I had after my first treatment was really actually outstanding. I think that's the only word I can use. It was so much more than I'd hoped for.
Within a couple of minutes, I could feel the sight coming back into my eye, my left eye, which I could hardly see anything out of. And after a couple of later treatments, I could read with it, which I've never done for years. But it was just mind-blowing.
I was walking without thinking what I was doing for the first time in a couple of years. Was holding cups without thinking, oh gosh, how am I going to do this with walking? Holding trays, standing in the shower without holding on, lifting my legs up. Walking was brilliant. Up and down from chairs and stools without having to push up and down. It was really fantastic.
It took me literally 48 hours to feel the first effect. And the first effect, positive effect, was that my bowels were functioning properly. I didn't have to look for the nearest toilet, which is such a relief.
My colour improved, my speech improved, and the following day I was literally able to turn over in bed without any problems for the first time in probably a year or more.
Within about an hour, I could stand straight up. I couldn't stay there, but I was able to get up from a sitting position to standing, and I'm telling you, that was absolutely priceless. That just didn't ever happen.
There was an enormous improvement in my walking. I could actually walk unaided for perhaps 50 yards. Whereas before, I couldn't walk unaided at all.
Your whole well-being just felt as though it's coming back into line. And a certain amount of an energy feeling as well. So that was outstanding.
I'm feeling much stronger and walking much better, because I used to have a Zimmer, but now I've only got a stick. And I don't always need that around the house. If I know where I'm going, I can be in a room and I think, where's my stick? Just in case I wanted to go out into the garden. And I've really got to walk around the bungalow to see where I left my stick, because I don't know where I've left it, because I've just walked around without even thinking.
If it weren't for the treatment I'm receiving now, I think by now I'd probably already be bedridden. My speech would probably be unintelligible, and I would be getting back to a suicidal state of mind.
Now, if somebody said to me that from now on I could no longer have this treatment, I would be absolutely devastated. Suicidal's too strong a word, far too strong, but I couldn't bear the thought of it. Absolutely couldn't.
If it wasn't for the Deval treatment, I would either be extremely and severely disabled. I would be bedridden, a dribbling wreck, and that's my words. I'm not being offensive to anyone, or I probably wouldn't be here. The rate it was progressing, I probably wouldn't be here.
I no longer feel that I'm restricted by time or that anything is finite. I think I can... And as it's been going, I will improve even more. I can't see it stopping today. It might stop eventually, but just full of hope.
My husband has had a hip replacement, and we were out walking once a few months back, and I, without any help, was walking up this steep embankment, and I even turned around and offered him my hand to pull him up. And he went, "Oh, you cocky cow."
We are seeing patients recover function that they lost some decades ago. So that's very, very rewarding.
It improves their quality of life. It certainly improves their dignity, helps with bladder control, reduces fatigue, improves locomotor skills, and has no significant side effects.
The range of conditions for which patients may experience a benefit is unusually broad. A colleague of mine now in his 80s, who's been instrumental in developing the concept of autoimmunity, said to me, with a bit of luck, you're working on the first broad general autoimmunity therapy.
I've always tended to say when people ask how I was, "Oh, I'm fine," and I didn't realise that it was really getting me down. And it no longer is. I feel terrific.
it's opened a really big door for me. It's given me a big second chance. I feel it's great.
From where I was to where I am now, my life is just totally different. It isn't the same person at all. It's basically the person I was yonks ago. It's given me back me.
This is it. I'm on a roll here somewhere. Don't know why. To be honest, I don't really care. It works.
I'm back. That's basically what it is. I'm back. And it's priceless. It's like a fairy tale come true.
I'm Angus Dalgleish and I'm a Professor of Oncology at St George's Hospital Medical School, and my main interest for many years now has been the immune system and cancer and trying to induce immune responses that will kill cancer. But I have done a lot of retroviral work in immunology where I came across the ability for viruses to induce autoimmune diseases and the various pathways that are involved in autoimmune disease like multiple sclerosis and rheumatoid arthritis, which is why I was very tuned to the potential of the Deval product when I was introduced to it. Well, David Shotton came to see me with this Deval product to see whether in fact it would be useful for using as an anti-HIV product. And cut a long story short, the anti-HIV, antiviral activity wasn't any more than to be expected, but its anti-inflammatory components of the product were just quite amazing. So we recommended that it would be very, very useful in certain diseases where this property was very prevalent, such as multiple sclerosis, for which there was no known treatment. Yes, it's not often that there's a new treatment that comes along that I get excited about, and I'm interested very much in drugs that have new activities compared to the going for the standard pathways and just making better drugs that interact with the standard pathways. So something new that clearly has a unique property in being able to damp down disease is obviously very exciting. Of course, there's a great placebo effect in multiple sclerosis patients, so it's encouraging, but made sure that an objective neurologist saw some of these patients before they received the product. And even the most cynical said, well, you know, most patients are improving very well, but some of them are improving without the possibility it could be explained by a placebo effect. And that was enough to convince me, because if you can convince a neurologist that something might work in multiple sclerosis when it's blind, he doesn't know what's going on, then you know you have something that's worth taking forward. I mean, there are other treatments out there for multiple sclerosis, but they're very toxic relative to this product, and they only work in a very, very few people. So I think that the chances of this actually getting to the market, in spite of the current European directives, etc., on various products, I think would be very high because of the need. And at the end of the day, a regulator's job is basically to protect the patient from ineffective and dangerous products. And that's the reason for doing these studies, is to show, one, that they're effective, and two, they're not dangerous. Now many people have been on it for 2 or 3 years without any recognised side effect apart from local reactions. Every new patient that goes on, every time that goes by, then the portfolio for saying that this is safe, albeit perhaps some would say unexpectedly safe, then that is a very strong argument for getting it full regulation. And if it did for multiple sclerosis, and the trial for rheumatoid arthritis shows some improvement, it would enable it to be used for, I would say, most inflammatory conditions which have failed current standard treatments.